Meanwhile, one Virginia lawmaker is taking to social media to reach the next generation of voters. Watch.
So Elizabeth Warren is now demanding to know why prices are increasing at grocery stores. So a politician that has pushed for higher regulations, more taxes, and more inflationary monetary policy is wondering why prices are going up. I bet locusts wonder why the crops are gone. So the Washington Post put out an article today that said that we shouldn't rant about shortages within the supply chain. Instead, what we should do is just lower our expectations. I thought that would make a great campaign slogan for the Biden administration. So there you go, Joe. No charge. Well, I got some people mad with me because I dropped a bill here in Virginia to get rid of the government's monopolistic control over the sale of liquor. Why'd I do it? Well, because Prohibition ended 90 years ago, and quite frankly, I don't need the state government telling me where to buy bourbon.
All right, that is Virginia Delegate Nick Freitas, who's getting lots of attention online for his TikTok videos that touch on a number of social and economic issues. He joins us now live on the program. Thanks for coming on today. You know, we've seen several younger politicians take advantage of social media to reach out to voters. Why do you think this is worth your time?
Oh, I think it's important for a number of reasons. One, it's where a lot of younger people are interacting with their representatives, with each other. And one of the things that we have to do if we actually believe in the conservative values that we share, if we believe in preserving individual liberty, is we have to fight for the culture, not just for the legislation. And so I believe politics is downstream from culture, and this is one of the areas we can effectively compete. I would say the other reason why it's so important is I really appreciate the fact that I don't have to rely on the Washington Post to get my message or to report on what I say or what I believe. I can do it directly through social media platforms so people can hear what I actually believe without the filter of left-wing media.
And you can reach a lot of people too, not just those, of course, living in Virginia. You created some of the clips that show what sort of your day-to-day life is like on the job. You've also showcased the inauguration of Glenn Youngkin and some other behind-the-scenes videos where you show a tour of your own office as well. You mentioned the fact that you've kind of got control over what you can and can't showcase here. But we've seen this before where big tech really gets involved and kind of shut down certain accounts. We've seen this before. Are you concerned at all about censorship?
Oh, absolutely. And we know that's always a possibility. And there's ways to work around that. You can have backup accounts. You work on multiple platforms across the board. And then you always have emerging platforms that are coming on that are far more open to free speech and to preserving your ability to speak on their platform, whether it's Getter or Rumble or other plans that are going to be coming out here, I think, in the next couple of years. So the important part is simply because there's a concern that they might shut you down, that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying to get on there and speak to people. Because quite frankly, the more people are actually following you and paying attention to what you say, the harder it is for them to do that. And that's what you want to create. You want to create an environment where it's incredibly difficult for these companies to do that, and you want them to pay a price for it. Not to mention the fact that I want to, every time they do that, I want somebody else in the marketplace to be encouraged that there's an entire group of people out there with an audience that would love to have a platform if they're willing to provide it.
How do you deal with the trolls?
Oh, I love the trolls.
You engage?
Yeah, I love the engagement. And look, there's two types. There's some people that come on and ask honest questions, and this provides a great opportunity to be able to ask and engage in dialogue and learn about different perspectives. There's other people that just want to come on and be sarcastic, and that also provides for some witty dialogue.
All right. Keep the conversation going. That's always important and helpful. And of course, the Commonwealth is in the news recently with Glenn Youngkin's inauguration and some executive orders and actions that he took immediately after taking office. One specifically having to do with critical race theory. He wants to get rid of it in the classroom. You had a TikTok sort of diving into that topic. If we've got that sound, we'll play it and then I'll get your response.
As a service to all of our students and the debate that's been taking place over subjects like CRT is to have us constantly be told that CRT is nowhere within our schools. Well, that's fascinating because I've never seen so many people so upset about somebody removing something from public schools that everybody claims is not there.
How did that one do?
That one did pretty well. It was actually part of a 5-minute speech. And the larger conversation we were having about CRT is it's not that the Democrats have put CRT in the classroom as a class. They've actually done something far more pernicious and I would say far more underhanded, which is to say that they've made it part of teacher licensing requirements. So if you want to get your license in Virginia, if you want to renew your license in Virginia, you had to go through all of this cultural competency training. And that included a lot of CRT seminars and courses. So it wasn't like Democrats were saying, here's a CRT course and let's debate about it with other courses in our schools. No, they were requiring all of our teachers to go essentially through worldview training. And then they were expecting those teachers to go into the classroom and teach every subject through the lens of CRT. And I just think that is not what we need to be doing in our schools. But the good news is this. I believe in school choice. So if Democrats or liberals would like to educate their kids in that way, they should be free to do so. They just shouldn't have the authority to force the rest of us to do the same thing.
Another controversy, though, was the decision to really allow parents to decide whether or not their kids would wear face masks in school. That also received major pushback from about 16 school divisions in Virginia. What's your reaction to the pushback from these schools on behalf of their claim that it could put students at risk if this was not in place or mandated?
Well, again, this is one of the problems that we have with government's monopolistic control over our public education system, is that parents and students are not treated like customers, because the bottom line is the school district knows that they have to go to that government-provided school. They don't have options within the marketplace. And I think one of the biggest things that we're trying to do right now, obviously, Governor Youngkin tried to give local control over to this issue, and some of those localities are making decisions that thankfully my localities are not. But ultimately what this comes down to, and ultimately what the big push is through Governor Youngkin and the Republican-controlled House of Delegates, is we're trying to put more control in the hands of parents, right? They're ultimately, them and their students are the customers of education. And it's ridiculous to have this situation where it's a bunch of politicians yelling at one another, arguing about what should be or should not be in the schools, when really these are decisions that should best be left to the customers. And I think the more that we get that, the more diversity we're going to get in education with respect to our curriculum, with respect to our policy, and it's going to be geared to the individual needs of children as opposed to special interests coming here and lobbying their government.
All right, and you can get those ideas and perspectives in less than 60 seconds online, on an app, a clock app, TikTok. All right, Nick Freitas, thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Really interesting conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you.